cream! This is a secret tavern! I figured it spawned out of the frickin' ether! Now you get back there and you get me my ice cream, or so help me! I will destroy everything you hold dear, you little insignificant worm!
Oh no, not this again. I'm out of here. There must be a pony without the crazy evil version of themselves. I know! Finn!
1 hour later.
Hey Finny, are you there? I brought video games and snacks.
Yeesh, I should really set some rodent traps in here.
Why are you green?
Why are you not?
Oh, please tell me you're not some sort of evil clone.
Oh sure, pegging me as evil because of the color of my skin, eh? Well, two can play at that game, shorty.
Just to let you know, I'm rather tall for a fox.
Oh, hey Tricky, nice to see you again. Have you met my buddy Fern? For the last time, my name is Finn, you imposter! Yeah, I'm guessing he's not quite over the fact that he's an evil plant clone of myself that spawned when the sword that inhabited a time-displaced doppelganger of myself was crossed with that magic grass sword that I got from a shady merchant. I'm guessing you can say this whole situation is a real pain in the grass, eh, buddy? I hate you. Love you too!
This is gonna end up in a collab, doesn't it?
It always does! Can we review that MLP episode with the evil tree clones? Feels nice to finally have some relatable characters in that show. Only if you promise not to leaf if I make any more puns. How about I leave you for dead?
The Mean Six, everybody! The long-awaited return of Queen Chrysalis is finally here.
Yep, she's back in a single standalone episode. No season finale, no opener, just one single appearance. Way to waste a good opportunity, Hasbro. Well, while I will admit it is a little disappointing that Chrissy didn't have a big returning performance, I honestly think the smaller scale makes sense here. First of all, it sets up a precedent that not all major villains need to be isolated to season finales or premieres, and can have smaller stories within the season, which I really hope will become a normal thing. Also, we do have to remember that Chrissy has pretty much hit rock bottom at this point. No followers, no base of operations, nothing. She's not that much of a big evil anymore, so it's fitting for her return to be more small scale, reflecting how she stands as a threat to the main six at the moment.
Though at the same time this episode does show that Chrissy could still be a reasonable threat. Her plan in itself was rather sound. Clone the main six and use the elements of harmony against the originals. I mean, sure, as the elements of harmony have a deeper link to the main six and are good by nature, this plan was somewhat doomed to fail from the start. But it's not like Chrissy was aware of that. From all she knows, they are the most powerful weapon in Equestria, and only the main six can use them. So cloning the main six to steal them makes a lot of sense. This setup can easily be retooled for a two-parter in which it actually works. The only reason it doesn't is that they rather wanted to do a comedic episode, but since the plan is still rather reasonable, it proves that Chrissy still has some tricks up her sleeves and could easily become a major threat again. Now regarding Chrissy appearing in a comedic episode like this in general, I like the concept, as major villains so far only appeared in two-parters at the beginning or end of each season. It limits what the writers can do with them. The only exception so far has been Deckard, who was reformed to achieve that effect. But we don't really want Chrissy to be reformed, but we still want to see more of her. So if we get to see her in a comedic episode like this, which elaborates on her character, I'm all for it. As long as they don't take away her bite.
This is essentially the classic villain conjures up some minions that butt heads with her kind of story. Simple, but really effective. And it not only shows that Chrissy is still capable of unique planning and strategy even when she has so little, but it manages to get a few laughs out of her without sacrificing too much of her sinister reputation. She's clearly still a force to be reckoned with. She's just not used to dealing with minions who don't follow her every whim. Back when she was the Changeling Mama, everyone followed her commands without question. Except for Thorax, of course. But here, these minions have occasions where they rebel or talk back, and Chrissy has to put them back into line, which we never really saw happen in her other appearances. It's an awesome concept that leads to some great comedic moments. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for strong female characters, but it was kind of pathetic how they outmaneuvered the all-powerful Bug Queen all by themselves. Come on, getting outplayed by the likes of Treelight Sparkles, Sapplejack, Raretree, and the others, maybe you should look for a change in career path. Ah, I get it. Change in career path, because she's a changeling. Good one. That wasn't a joke. That was a valid point of criticism. Sure it was.
Whatever. Well, looking at the clones, one thing becomes very obvious. This whole episode was basically just an excuse to recycle the discarded main 6 from the Return of Harmony. They are the same, with the exception of Twilight, who was simply very sad in her discarded state. This time around they did it properly and gave us the opposite of Twilight we wanted to see. Well, actually not, because we already had Sunset, Starlight and Tempest. Okay, these were more like Twilight but evil, while this one was more like her polar opposite, but still. Evil Twilight is not exactly a new concept either.
Say what you want, but all I see is an attempt by the writers to take some already used concepts and throw them on a script just for a quick buck. I know people say it's important to recycle, but that doesn't apply to ideas. Well, to be fair, it's not exactly a straight up recycled idea if something unique is added to spice things up. This episode included some really funny moments of the main 6 and the Tree 6 interacting and playing off each other. Back in Return of Harmony, all the main 6 were discorded in the maze and never really had the time to react to each other's changed selves. In this episode, we get plenty of that, further adding to the comedy. Throw in the fact that we get an actual taste of a true discorded Twilight, and you get a package with familiar elements but a different execution. But shouldn't the main 6 notice that something is off about their friends? They know each other pretty well, and they should know better than believing that these obviously evil clones are the real deal. This is the same issue with Tawarin back again, where Starlight couldn't see the obvious changeling she was talking to. I've seen more convincing acting in reality TV.
That is not untrue, but this episode has an overall comedic tone, so we can roll with some suspension of disbelief here. I mean, it is actually rather easy to tell the main 6 and their clones apart, as they have some visual differences as well, as slightly different color schemes and somewhat altered cutie marks. For example, Applejack's cutie mark are 3 red apples, while their clone has 3 green ones instead. Not to mention that nothing was really going according to plan for the main 6 either, so they were all a bit charged, making it a bit more believable that they are buying into the imposters.
And what about Starlight? Chrissy didn't even clone her. What was up with that? It would have at least given her something to do in this episode. Maybe because she was only vitalizing the ponies that actually had elements of harmony? You know, to avoid complications?
Well, I think we can say she served as a foil to Chrissy. The entire episode is set up so the camping trip of the main 6 and Chrissy's search for the elements of harmony mirror each other. Nothing goes according to plan for either of them, and then they mix and match originals and fakes. The only ones who never notice any of that are Starlight and Chrissy. They both play the straight mares to their rather eccentric companions, so even if Starlight contributes little to the overall plot, as a foil for Chrissy it makes perfect sense for her to be there.
Yeah, so claiming she was useless in the episode just because Chrissy didn't use her in her plan doesn't really seem fair. You guys and your logic.
So yeah, the camping trip is as good as ruined, but when everything sucks, you just have to laugh it off. In the meantime, Chrissy almost gets overpowered by her own creation, but it's luckily saved by the Tree of Harmony. Kinda ironic when you think about it, though frankly a little bit disappointing because Tree like Sparkle seems like a surprisingly competent villain. And the episode ends with the main 6 and Starlight rebuilding their campsite, learning that you should try to stay positive even if your day is terrible.
Oh, you mean like old Blue Boy over there? He gets so happy it's kinda scary sometimes. Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows and everything. Yee! Makes my grass crawl.
While Chrissy takes a leave, probably preparing her next scheme.
You said leave. Shut up.
Speaking of bad puns, have you noticed the cutie mark of Chrissy's disguise?
It's a ladybug. What about it? Well, Chrysalis is a noblewoman after all.
And a buck horse, so you could say she is a
ladybug! Does anyone have some weed killer I can drink? Aw, don't be sad, buddy. I'll bet your cutie mark is just as amazing. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And why is that?
You know what happens to grass if you dry it?
Yeah, it turns into straw. Wait a minute!
Sly as a fox, you got me under your spell. fell. But you know I'll never tell.